Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Laurin Leonard, co-founder of R3 Score, to discuss the issue of recidivism and getting people with a criminal record back to work. Laurin, certainly an important question for us to answer. Why is recidivism such a problem in the United States?
Well, let's first start with the fact that 1 in 3 Americans, or 70 million people, have an arrest or conviction record. Recidivism, for those who just aren't familiar really quickly, is the experience of returning back to prison or jail. And that time period in which a person is struggling to connect to work, to housing, and to mainstream markets is critical, in that if they can't connect to opportunity, then they typically, unfortunately, are likely to return back to prison or jail.
And it seems to be a problem in the United States. I mean, we have one of the highest recidivism rates.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, America is considered the #1 incarcerator of citizens. We have 5% of the world's population, yet 25% of the world's prison population. So when you look at the fact that we have a modern society where we have over incarcerated our citizens, we now have to consider, what do we do when people come home? An overwhelming majority of people return home. About more than 80% of people actually come back. So we've sent people to prison or jail, and we haven't really considered what happens when they return and how do we reconnect them back to society.
I would also argue part of the issue with our incarceration is that it's a business as well, but that's a conversation for another time.
We only have 5 minutes.
Right, and also if we focus on mental health issues, we'll get you back for that conversation. But how does this put people with a criminal record at a disadvantage?
Yeah, so there has been documentation that there are over 50,000 known collateral consequences for having an arrest or conviction record. What that means is, once a person has the record, often they are serving what's known as an invisible life sentence. And what that means is, every time you go to apply for an apartment, you go get a job, anywhere in which a criminal background check is run, you are likely to face a barrier. And so really, at the end of the day, what we have to ask ourselves is, when a third of the country has a record, background checks have become common in our decision-making process, where do we actually intervene in the fact that this is really a part of the recidivism problem? And our company, our subsidiary, R3 Score, is really anti-recidivism and pro-opportunity.
So how does that work? Where does R3 fit into the ecosystem?
Yeah, so R3 Score is a business tool that allows different types of companies in various sectors to actually better assess candidates. So we have customers that use our product in the HR space. It allows them to be able to look at an applicant who's looking for a job and use us perhaps differently than a traditional background check, because we're able to take a static background check and actually apply user consented data to it, which gives us more information. So we fit in at the ecosystem at the point in which a decision maker is trying to assess a person with a record. This is where we come in.
And one more question I want to throw at you. At the end of the day, hiring managers are running a business. What's the benefit to hiring those with a criminal record? Are workers with a criminal background less likely to offend and perhaps perform well on the job?
Yeah, so there's a couple of benefits. So there has already been research that's done that people with records are typically some of the most loyal and dependable employees. There's several rounds of criminology research that shows that there are different types of offenses that actually have very low recidivism rates, which means our bias against people with records actually causes us to think that they are likely to potentially reoffend. And that's actually not the case. In the end, we believe that this country, society, everything works better when people are given opportunities who are ready to work for them. And so it's to a business's advantage to actually use R3 Score. We consider ourselves a growth partner.
All right, Laurin, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Have a great day.